And we're back. Clint Cronin, Nima Moridi, the Ninja Realtor in the house. This is episode, I'm not even going to bother counting anymore because there's a lot of episodes and we do a lot of content. But we're in the house right now. We've been hanging out. We did a little no-gi training earlier today. Nima hit up some striking afterwards. That's right. I did a little bit of gi fundamentals coaching, and we just ate some poke bowls. And now we're watching EBI 15. We've been talking about it for a little bit now. Watch some highlights. Now we're just kind of going over it. Man, props to Gio Martinez. He made it to the finals. I know he did so with a stomach flu. He's not the kind of guy where he's going to come out and say that, but like, it was pretty well known. He was basically, thrown up before and after every match, and to make it all the way to the finals. What John Calistine is the guy's last name?
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yeah,
Palestine. Right? Yeah, he's one of the he was one of the Danaher Death Squad guys. His Renzo Gracie Academy dude. Man, he's a savage. The guy's really good. In that third overtime, actually all the overtime rounds with Gio, you could tell he was just not going to get stuck in any of those submission attempts. Like, I liked how he defended the arm lock. He brought his leg inside, super flexible dude. And his leg locks were great. He was finishing heel hooks all over the place. First 2 rounds, I think it was only combined like 3 or 4 minutes for his first 2 rounds of competition against some really game opponents too. So congratulations, props to him. Another guy from Renzo Gracie East Coast under John Danaher that just killed it, right?
Yeah. So he was Eddie Cummings' training partner right over there.
Yeah. I don't know if he's like permanently not with Danaher anymore. I saw a post on Instagram by John Danaher, basically saying that he left with Eddie Cummings, and the reason something to do with like there's people that are in the gym, maybe like he might compete at that same weight class at some point, but I don't really know. And all I know is the guys that come out of that pedigree, under that training system, are just killing it with the leg locks right now, especially in the submission only tournaments.
I remember when we trained with Jake Shields. I went 1 6-minute round with him. I try not to fanboy too much. I told my guy, I got a lot of respect for you. You're a really cool dude. He was really nice.
There was no opportunity to fanboy. He was training for a fight.
Yeah.
And he has that mentality, man. He's been training with scrap pack guys. He's been training, these high level guys for so long, getting ready for MMA. And when they're sparring, they're getting ready. It's serious. If they bring you in for a reason. You're a body, and you're part of the program. And he's there to bring it. We started from standing every time no-gi, and this he
submitted me 5 times, I think, within the 6 minutes, and he told me, full disclosure, goes, hey, listen, all I'm going to do is train leg locks on you. That's all I'm going to do. I'm like, hey man, it's your world, whatever.
Yeah, we sat in traffic. It was on a just whatever day during the week we went up there over to house in San Francisco. It was very cool. Kurt had it, and had us up there, Ramin and all those guys. Always love visiting. Kurt Osiander's a homeboy, man. Always love running into him. But we went up there. We're sitting in traffic for God knows how long, just shooting the shit. We get up there and we walked right on the mat. There was no warm up. It was like shake hands, and we start going from standing with Jake. And I'm like, I went through the first round with him, and we started rolling again. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm about to shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, no, I was like, because the whole way up on the car, I was like, kind of got to use the restroom, but not really. Kind of got to, not really. And got to get changed in the locker room beforehand. It's a very humid, sweaty locker room. Like,
yeah, it is.
That's a hardcore gym, man. No joke. And I get changed and come out. And I'm like, oh hey guys, how's it going? Like it like the business picked up immediately. We're like, crap. Yeah. So to avoid it, being crap, literally, I was like, all right, man, I'll be right back. Give me like 5 minutes, and then we got a little bit more training in afterwards, and that went a lot better. But man, that guy's a killer.
Yeah, he's a killer. I love watching these Martinez brothers with the EBI. I mean, I didn't know too much about them until Boogeyman came on your podcast. I started really liking him, started following him. Super cool guy, and now I follow his brother too, like on this EBI 15. These guys are awesome, man. I really like. I'm really getting into the EBI stuff. Before, I would watch more of like the UFC and Bellator, especially for our local San Jose guys. With the Bellator circuit. I liked watching that promotion for that. But lately, with Fight Pass, I've been trying to watch more of these EBI matches, and I don't know. I'm getting more inspired to work that leg lock game and just get a lot more better. Maybe even compete in no-gi too, because I still haven't competed in no-gi. I do it twice a week, but I haven't competed yet.
Well, I mean, I know we have Naga. You're competing in Naga on Saturday, which is a good opportunity to kind of get your feet wet in there. Mm-hmm. The divisions are a little bit different. I don't think it's based on belts. I think it's more like novice, beginner, advanced, that sort of thing. However, it's the same weight divisions. And so if you're already making weight, I think adding another division or adding like another thing, like adding no gi versus just having gi, I think once you pay the initial registration fee, adding additional, brackets or something, or, divisions, it's not that expensive. I think it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, I think it's because I remember with Gorilla, it was only like $20 more for the Grand Prix. Like if you want to,
it's real. I don't think it's much more than that at all. That's why Dave Mitchell, our buzzsaw over at One World, he always signs up for like everything.
Yeah, that guy's a sav, man. You know what my problem? What I need to work on? It's the time between the gi and no gi. For example, with Gorilla, I think it was like a 2-hour wait or something like that, at least like on paper. And then by the time I was done, I said, I just want to go home. I've been here since 8:30, and it was like 2:00 at that point.
They zap through those rounds. There is no messing around at those Naga events. They won't even call you out of bounds. A lot of cases, you'll be on somebody else's mat, and they're like, whatever. Nobody's getting hit.
Yeah.
They like that. If that match is 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, that's how long that match is. And then you guys are getting the hell off the mat. Go on the podium, get your medal, your belt, your sword, whatever, and get the fuck out. They are efficient at blowing through those matches. If you're gonna protest a referee's call, you better do so very freaking quickly, sir. Yeah. Have your coach ready to go with a real good, whatever, because they're ready to move to the next bracket.
Turn around is fast, man. Hey, I can't wait to get you to compete at Naga at some point because I want to see you get those freaking belts, man.
It's funny. Like usually in my weight class, there aren't that many guys. I'm like, I'm not 100% in terms of like, healing my back up and freaking neck, knee, all the goddamn things wrong. I'm looking at him like at my weight, there's probably gonna be like 1 or 2 guys. So I'm pretty tempted to just like go out and like fight on Saturday just to do it.
Yeah.
And like I hate saying it like that. I'd rather have like, like 4 weeks, 6 weeks ahead of time, be like, no, I'm going to do this tournament. I'm going to go. And I want like, my plan is the podium. And like, I wouldn't go and do a Naga event if it wasn't like just to go get that belt. Like I wouldn't go for fun. Cause it's like logistically I've gone to a couple of them in the past and, you sign up and there's nobody in my damn weight class and nobody wanted to like, I guess meet from other divisions or belts or whatever. So you wind up getting a refund, which is kind of a bummer. So,
you did that. I remember you did that last year when I competed. You came through to coach me. Thank you again for that, brother.
Well, I was there to coach, but I had my gi in my bag as I'm coaching, and I'm trying to get a match. And they're like, well, maybe this guy the only guy we have is like a lightweight. And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And like, I was like, okay, whatever, anything. And like, the dude said no anyway. No. And then there was somebody like much, much older and much, much heavier who also said no.
I remember that. You came back and told me. This year, though, I'm competing 10 pounds lighter.
Cool.
The 179.9. So
that's good for you. Like you've leaned down, but the cardio's been improved. It's just seeing you hit up tournaments and stuff. Like you had Eddie Bravo on. I think one of those. It was like the EBI 13 qualifier. They had the in-house stuff where all the different 10th Planet gyms show up at 10th Planet headquarters in LA, and basically figure out who's qualifying from the gym to like get on matches and stuff. So that's how they do it there. They fight amongst themselves to see who's getting on that event.
I see.
It's a big ass event, right? It's on Fight Pass. Like it's a big deal. So he's not just handing those spots out.
Yeah, I mean, you got Bruce Buffer announcing too. I'm really happy with what Eddie's done with this. I mean, I was listening to Joe Rogan's podcast recently, and he had mentioned Eddie has like over 100 gyms now or something, or 100 gyms. That's phenomenal.
All over the world.
Things like that make me so happy. People who have like a huge passion for what they believe in and what they do, being able to monetize it, grow it, and monetize it the way he's been. I mean, that to me, that is the American dream right there. It's not like stuck doing some crappy job, that you keep looking at the watch, like when you can get out of there. Like he said, F that. He went and built his own brand, and now look, he has a contract with the UFC. I mean, he has Bruce Buffer calling the freaking fights. Look at all the sponsorships that he has with Datsu Sara, with Rogan, and Muscle Farm. Yeah. I mean, you name it. I know Brass Knuckles. I bet I'm missing a lot still, but my point is it's great to see that. I love seeing guys like that.
Yeah, it's pretty great, man. I mean, every gig he's kind of worked towards have been pretty much things he's been very passionate about. You don't hear him, working jobs he's not happy with. He definitely didn't come from money.
Yeah.
I mean, working class family, East LA. Yeah. I mean, he wanted to be a rock star, and then he's like, well, maybe I'll do this MMA thing, and it turned into jiu-jitsu, and like this guy didn't plan to have a franchise of 100 gyms. Like,
yeah, wow.
You talk to him and you're like, wow. I mean, because he's stoked about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys that they have that martial arts careers, they have the MMA career, they have the fight career, and they go and then they open the gym, and like it's more just to have a place to go hang out at, right? It's like, but you don't really see the same level of passion after they've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
But just if you spend any time around Eddie, on the mats or whatever, you see how passionate he is about it. It's like, see how stoked he is. See how proud of his students and everything. Like, he's very involved in those classes. Like, I can't say enough good things about the guy. Like, I mean, you can't, you everybody a beer. You gotta silence that damn phone, sir.
Oh, I don't think that's me.
That's not you?
No.
I don't have that sound. I'm on silent mode.
Mine's on silent.
Did I just say that? Was that me? Do I owe everybody a beer? Let me see. Do I have a notification? Ooh.
You know what it is?
No.
It's the iPad.
It's the iPad. Oh, it is you.
Yes.
You do, in fact, owe everyone a beer.
Turn that off. So when I went to 10th Planet, I went down there for my birthday weekend, and I got to train at 10th Planet. It was really cool. Eddie wasn't there, though. But you went down there, and you trained with them. How was it?
It was very cool. I think that was when I was there. They were like one of the drills that Imanari set up into the outside heel hook, and I think Marvin Castile was like there drilling it. I was drilling with other guys, but I'm pretty sure he was there. And then that thing kind of blew up on, he got like insta famous. He hit it on one of his opponents. And, it blew up millions of hits, and it's basically like this. The Imanari role made him pretty much, Jesus Christ, pretty much made him famous. And I'm very sorry, the phone's ringing there.
We got really popular all of a sudden tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Bing, bing, bing.
Caller, you're on the line. No, we can't do that. We actually could. We could take callers, but we didn't actually tell anybody we're doing this thing. Otherwise,
Mike, where you at?
Yeah, I know, right? All right, that we're getting kind of meta on folks. The thing is, like, Eddie's super passionate. You mentioned the Giovanni and Richie Martinez earlier, Freakazoid, and the Boogeyman. That's the nicest guy in the world, man. He's such a sweetheart. It was really awesome seeing him win at the Combat EBI, Combat Jiu Jitsu. A few EBIs ago. He's just a cool guy. He's got to spend time with him. So first of all, he's a lot bigger than he looks.
Really? How big is he roughly, height-wise?
He's my height.
Okay. Wow.
But he's like he has quite a bit of muscle on him for being he's longer. He has like no body fat. The dude's got like an 8-pack. So like he's like, you see him on the videos and stuff. He's like, this skinny, lankier dude. And like you see him in person, like, no, this guy's jacked, like super good shape. And he's pretty damn aggressive on the mat. He's got like a pretty different style, but great teacher. We had some really cool drills over there. And he's another guy that's super passionate about jiu-jitsu. He's got a cool story. I implore everyone to check out the episode. We were over at 10th Planet San Diego. That we had Boogeyman Richie Martinez on. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy, and you guys both have 6 a.m. classes that you run. I think that's pretty cool.
well, freaks don't sleep, right?
Yeah. That's what he said. And I'll never forget this. I know I've told you this time and time again, and I got this from him on your podcast, and I always remember this when we're rolling. Drillers make killers. That's been something that I've been saying a lot, too. And I tell myself that, I'm like, oh, man, I just want to roll. Like, when are we going to finish this up? And I remind myself, hey, drillers make killers. This is the technique that you learn, you implement, during open mats, during the 5-6 rounds or whatever that we do after instruction. And yeah, it just kind of puts everything in perspective. Cool cats. I got to get down there. That's a gym I really, really want to check out. 10th Planet Freaks, man. All of those guys seem like you're kind of like outcasts and misfits, and I mean that in like in a really, really respectful way. But they all just kind of have their shtick, right? Like you got Ben Eddie with that crazy mustache. You got the Martinez brothers with their tattoos and funky facial hair, and I mean they make it happen, man. They'll huge gauges in their ears or whatever, and these guys are just freaking beasts on the mat. I just think it's really cool, man. They found their niche over there, and that's a gym I'd love to check out in San Diego.
You should. I totally recommend it. Totally recommend going and checking it out. They're great instructors. There's a couple of them, so you can go see Gio as well. I think he's at the Oceanside gym. There's I think 3 10th Planets in San Diego. I might be wrong, but while you're down there, you got that one. You got Eduardo Tellis over at 99 Jiu Jitsu. It's definitely a good place to go. And some of those guys actually cross train with each other. He's actually a pretty big no-gi guy as well.
Okay.
So Boogeyman, those guys all have a really good relationship. So it's really, San Diego's cool for jiu-jitsu, man.
Well, is Galvao down there too, San Diego?
Ooh, Atos. That's not San Diego. It's outside of LA, isn't it? Somewhere.
Riverside?
Is that it? I think
remember, somewhere around there. Okay, so he's not in San Diego though. I got because I've been meaning to get down over there. Go hang out. The Gas Lamp has some great restaurants and great nightlife. I wanted to do like a weekend thing down there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be hitting you up for a night to set up an itinerary. Because with me, when I train during the day and when I go out at night, with my late night eating or drinking, debauchery, all that stuff, just makes it a lot more easier to deal with. As long as I get my training in during the day. I can play at night.
Compared to LA, I didn't have the same traffic problems I had in San Diego. In the Bay, man. So last Friday, I went over and saw Vinny Magalhaes in Concord.
Yeah, that's right. Saber.
He was over at Saber, over at Brian Pangilinan. I'm always going to butcher his name. I'm sorry. I love you, Brian.
Pangilinan.
Man.
Pangilinan.
But he had Vinny over there. He was in town for coaching one of his students for the SF Open IBJJF tournament. So I got to spend some time with Vinny. We actually have like a bunch of mutual friends, but like really haven't hung out or trained together. So I got to train with him. Went to a seminar. It was awesome. Brian's brother Jacob, he's also a Want versus Need crew. So,
shout out.
So he was over there as well. It was always cool seeing him. He was competing. And then for that weekend for SF Open, Ryan Bernardino, who's also been on the show recently, another Want versus Need athlete. He was competing as well. That guy this is his first competition, his competition return after under 2 months ago having throat cancer surgery.
Wow.
His last surgery, he's had to have two. I guess it came back. He did Pans after. I think he got like second or third at Pans after right after having throat cancer surgery.
And I love seeing stuff like that. Good for these guys. I mean, talk about a comeback after throat cancer surgery. Then you go in and competing at Pans. Not too savvy, man. Wow. No,
they told him you have to be out a year, blah, 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 this whole thing. Yeah. He isn't trying to hear it, man. No, Ryan's a beast. I got to train with him a little bit. My back wasn't quite good, but we rolled around a little bit, did what I could. It was a pretty good exchange. He's around my size, same height, and probably within about 10 pounds on the weight, so it was cool.
Did you get to roll with Vinny?
Yeah. We did a little bit. We did some like situational drills based on the stuff he was teaching. So it was like inside his wheelhouse. So trying to like figure out this position we were starting from. It was pretty interesting. And man, he's like he's very, very high level. And definitely good luck to him. He'll be on soon. I'm going out to see him probably mid-March in Las Vegas. But his next big thing is ACB going against Gordon Ryan.
Oh, wow. I know that guy.
So you have like ADCC / ACB / like M1 champion Vinny Magalhaes, who's like legendary against this world beater, the guy that's on the biggest tear right now, right? Gordon.
Yeah.
What is he, like ADCC champion this year?
So what is ACB? I've never heard of that before.
ACB, I think it's the Russian one.
Okay. So does that promotion like take place in Russia and like you got to fly over there to compete?
The last one was in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
The last one was in Brazil, and they had everybody on that card, man. They had everybody, Bushesh was on there, and it was the who's who of jiu-jitsu. And legend has it, they actually pay, pretty good money to these athletes. So it's cool, outside of Brazil, seeing actual paydays come in for these athletes besides the few that can't, the journeymen the guys that journey outside of, UFC and do grappling events.
Totally.
And seeing that these, jiu-jitsu guys are actually making good money because it's a hustle, right? All these guys have to basically be, either like multi-time world champion, gym business owner, marketing guys. They have to have these online programs and hustle. They have to basically be like these, you have to be your own sales guy, your own marketing guy, your own whatever. Yeah. So actually seeing that, yes, those things are true. You have to have your shit together. And any kind of athlete, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you don't know how to say it, you don't know how to invest it, you're going to be fucked when you're over, right? But it's cool to see that the jiu-jitsu side of it is starting to see some decent money coming in. And I don't know the level of cash. I just know it's enough to get all of these guys to Brazil and all of these guys to Russia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely cool.
It's always good to see them monetizing that, right? They can just pay the bills.
I'm telling you though, EBI is badass. The production value in terms of like what you get in the quality, the 1080p, whatever 4K, whatever they're doing on the iPad, the Fight Pass stuff, inch by inch TV, that. But what you actually see from Fight to Win Pro in terms of like entertainment value showing up in person. I haven't really watched the Flow Grappling stuff, admittedly, because like we're there.
Yeah. I love the fact that they have the promotions over here too.
Going there live and experiencing it, sitting with your team or just watching the matches in general. It's a really great experience. And it's cool to see that the athletes are getting paid. It's cool to see everybody out there because it doesn't have that tournament vibe. It's like everybody's out and more people stay all the way to the end. Right.
Yeah.
It's like the way, like imagine like a local MMA show or like an amateur MMA show, right? You're basically booking local guys and maybe like some famous dude that's like from like sort of far away.
We had the last Fight to Win with our homie Fuki fought on that card. They had a guy, a UFC fighter. What's his name? Ramsey Nijem. I watched him on Ultimate Fighter. I've seen a few of his fights as well. And he was on that card. It was cool to see him come out. And I know he's in Utah. I think he's still out there. And he flew all the way out here just for that. So, yeah, you're right. It is cool to see that.
Then you had Jake Shields. They brought Kit Dale all the way out.
That's true.
They've had a couple Australian athletes on these local cards, which is pretty cool. The event overall was pretty darn exciting. That was also Concord, wasn't it?
Yeah. That one,
Richmond
Pavilion or something like that. Yeah. That place was pretty cool. I love the view outside. Were you able to see that?
That was cool, yeah, because it was like that old Navy armory type building, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right there on the.
You had a really nice view of the bay.
Yeah, nice. You can see all the container ships and stuff. Just get a nice skyline view of the Bay Area and everything.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I had to park kind of far away, so I got to see that view for a while. They wanted $10 for parking for a jiu-jitsu event, and I'm like, no. I can't do that. I just can't. I can't.
I drove all the way up here.
I get it, man. They have to pay for this facility and everything. I just I couldn't stomach. I'm like, I'm not paying $10 for jiu-jitsu. It's not doing it. Like, I paid my dues. Damn it. I should be fighting.
Yeah.
Not paying $10 cover fucking parking.
Hey, if you could find an opponent that's game, you got to get on one of those cards too.
Dude, every time they hit me up, I'm either hurt or the match falls out. Like that keeps happening. Like, getting old sucks. Don't get old. And like, because you have to like go work.
Stay young, y'all.
Yeah. Stay young and like,
do your stretches.
Yeah. Like Eddie Bravo said it really good. He's like, you can have all the technique you want, but your cardio, you have to have the cardio of like a professional athlete. Like you have to it has to be on that level.
Yeah.
It has to be because. I mean, you're going through these 16-man tournaments or however many people are in the tournament, right? And if your cardio isn't on point, right?
Bro, that's why I've been doing those runs. I've been doing the 3 5K runs a week. And I know I haven't done as much with lifting. And like the last tournament, for example, every guy in my division that I went up against, I felt like was stronger than me overall. But I do believe that my endurance was like a big factor in it. And I was able to best them a lot of time because of that. One of the guys like, you know what, I'm done. I can't even go to the next one. I'm too tired.
Yeah, you had they were trying to rebook your whole bracket.
Yeah, all again, restart the whole thing.
You had like 3 guys left in the bracket, and everybody had to win over each other technically.
Yeah,
like everybody, like they had the same record, and they were trying to rebook the whole thing. And you had one guy just say never mind, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand it because that guy, he's the one you lost to the first time, wasn't it? Or
Me?
No, that's the guy you beat.
Yeah. I beat him.
But he just didn't want to do it anymore. He was just like, man.
He's the guy, I don't know if you remember, but I gassed out my arms because I kept trying to finish him with the darce.
Yes.
I kept going and going, and I kept following. It was a game of cat and mouse, like a dog chasing after its own tail.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, if you want to really succeed at that level, like you have to have the cardio of a pro, and you have to take it seriously. Like your strength and conditioning has to be on point. I mean, you can get by on technique sometimes, but like if there's only a couple guys in your bracket, maybe. But really, do you want to barely squeak out wins?
No, I want to be able to go. I want to continue to go. And I love your passion, by the way. So you pulled me aside right after that match before I was going to go up against the guy, the last one. And you're like, look at him. He's tired. Look at him. He's gassed out. He's tired. He's fatigued. He's like, you got this. You pumped me up like, yeah, that's right. I got this on him. I got this. And I just went out and beasted him. I think I won that like 7-0 or something like that match. But yeah, man. I mean, I noticed even when we're rolling, I take less rounds off. Like before, I would always have to take at least one round in between like those 6 or 7 just to kind of catch my breath. But now I'm going to the end. And I'm super thankful for that. And I'm going to keep it up, man, because if I can improve my gas tank, it'll motivate me a lot more to get back on those competition mats.
I mean, you shouldn't be taking rounds off. Like
Yeah.
you should, like at this stage, competing is like when you are, you should just be able to bang the whole thing out and just regulate your energy expenditure, because like you can kind of dictate that. Like you have control over your breathing, you have control over like what you're doing, and you don't have to work, a certain pace the whole time. Like you gotta have some strategy in there. I mean, like if you think how many people are in my bracket, right? If you're going for the kill constantly the whole time, just, I mean, really, like what do you want to have left in the finals? I mean, you're only going to have so many calories on you, right?
Yeah. But for me, at least in my situation, I think because obviously I don't have nearly as much experience as you do with competing and jiu-jitsu. The more I go, the more I throw myself out there, the less I'm having those adrenaline dumps, the more I'm able to stay focused and control my breathing and stay calm. And it's starting to show. And I think like the more I do it, the more comfortable I'll become. And it's not like, when you would talk about like those, remember those white belts, like the first time they're competing, they just walk up and just grab each other.
The zombie grips, tunnel
yeah.
vision. Yeah, man, that's a real thing.
You start, being a little light, you start being loose, you start being light, you shoot for something, you don't get it, you jump back up, you stay calm, you don't forget to breathe. Hell, throw an Nima and I roll in there. Just go for it. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait for Nogi for that, but you know what I mean.
You get more comfortable, and really at white belt, blue belt, then especially in masters, you don't have much time to pull off whatever you're planning to pull off. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and if you have a guy that's like really playing conservative or really just trying to lock down on you or hold you, you're not going to be able to. It ain't going to be no highlight reel.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you're not going to get all your best stuff in there. You're going to get the stuff off you remember, like the stuff that that you do all the time, your go-to stuff, and that's why like I'm a big fan of sort of like positional training and like situational drilling and stuff like that. And I like to build sort of strategically from certain hubs and stuff. I want my guys to be able to say, okay, well, from this position, like these are the attacks, these are the passes, whatever, and here's how they fail, and here, like if it goes this way, we're gonna do this or this, and just like have like battle stations or hubs that we work from. Like I have a few like very like key ones, both from the bottom and top, and just sort of like, okay, these are like, if like I'm trying to advance too far in one position, I have kind of like retreat places, which are like basically pins where I have like a path forward, where it's like very simple, like cause and effect.
Yeah,
they're going to defend this way or that way, and based on that, we're going to advance in a certain way. We're going to adapt in a certain way, and just like not trying to go like too deep down the rabbit hole. Like if it just basically building like repeatable scenarios that like you can go back to, that you're comfortable with, like so you're never in deep water. Like one of the things that I learned from Eddie Bravo actually, and that I employed, and I probably practiced this on and off for like the better part of 6 months, maybe more. That I, like, not that I stopped practicing after that, but like this is like the core emphasis of what I was working on was from the bottom position, not being stressed out when people tried to pass. Like, so guard retention, but like honestly, like efficient guard retention, and like getting it to the point where like someone tries to pass my guard, nope, just doing these little hip escapes, little like frame moves to recover. I wanted it to be to the point, like the way you described this, like the guy on the top stressing out, you're on the bottom, like, nope, you're all good. I've been here 100 times. Ain't passing my guard. And all I was doing was not getting my guard pass, reconstituting guard, and that's it.
Kind of like with you and I roll.
I'll work that a lot, and it'll annoy people. And I'm like, you know what, man, pass my guard or tap me, like, like show me something new. And if I'm working a certain thing, I'm like, I'm 6'2", 220. I've been training for 13 years and I'm in good shape. Right.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to like just go all out and smash lower belts, it would not be that much fun for them probably.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're not, no, I'm not going to make a lot of friends doing that. It's like not a lot of people are that size, not a lot of people that are that level. And I'm like, not saying like egotistically, I'm saying it like, you know,
No,
like
I get you.
I'm trying to make it like to where like both people are benefiting from it. So if I'm working a specific position with somebody that's like a white belt or, you know, like a newer person or something, like maybe like they're not that proficient in certain positions, like I want both people to get something out of it. So it's like, oh, this person is really good at like, let's say like your open guard defense and like dexterity in there is getting good. So like and like you have good cardio, you're long, like you're like, you know, pretty flexible and stuff. So like, okay, I'm gonna work open guard pass because like that's just like defending that's a strong suit for you, right?
Yeah.
Versus like and like for me, it's like it keeps you on my toes. Like, okay, what are these guys teaching nowadays? Like, what's the new shit? Because like you're probably out there learning a bunch of that new shit, and I'm like, all right, well, what are they teaching in other classes? Because you take lots of other people's classes. So like, I want to keep trying to pass your guard because as your guard defense gets better, I'm like, all right, well, let's keep doing that. Then the same thing. It's like, well, I want to work my guard defense. You know, my retaining guard. You know, because guys are getting better and learning more passes and stuff. And then if it's a leg lock guy, I'm gonna like, okay, let's see how their 50-50 goes. Let's see how they're attacking this. Let's see how they're attacking that. Like, let me defend that. I don't give a shit if I got caught. Like what like no one's paying me.
And that helps us too. I mean, I know it helps me. It keeps me thinking like, all right, well, I can't go here. I'm going to try this. If I can't do this, I'm going to try this. And I mean, it's very, very rare that I can even pass your guard anyway. But my mind is thinking, right? I'm thinking about different things that I can possibly do, and it's my quickness is better, right? Like I'm trying to like juke you out, for example, or even try to even do a smash pass, and I say that with air quotes. I mean, I'm trying to do the smash pass, but yeah, I mean, you got my mind thinking of different ways on what I can do. So obviously, for an opponent that let's say is not as high a caliber as you, or like even the weight is like more similar to me. I think I'll have better success if I'm practicing it on you over and over, and you're like pushing me away, getting me away from you.
Yeah, and like a lot of times, I'm just basically, you know, just correcting, right? I'm trying to bring it back to zero. So if we're in like close guard, for example, if you were to like, you know, put your knee in the middle and get grips, you know, my thing is to correct that angle, square back up with square back up with you and break those grips. I want to get back to 0-0, right?
Yeah.
And just unravel it. It's like, okay, what did he do here? I'll say, okay, how do I back out of that? How do I like undo that? And you know, some guys have like very multi-layered, multifaceted games where it's like, all right, this is chess, like it's a puzzle. And you look at some of the leg lock stuff now, and it's like it didn't just come out. It isn't like it wasn't. None of this stuff was invented yesterday, but you're seeing it more because in, you know, gi jiu-jitsu, which like we were at a gi school largely, like until like fucking yesterday, effectively, right, or a couple years ago, effectively, like leg locks were very taboo. And a lot of schools they still are.
Yeah.
A lot of schools they absolutely still are. Like if you like go visit another school, like you go to like heel hook or knee bar, like, you know, somebody below like a brown belt, man, like they're gonna say something immediately.
Yeah, I get scared of them because it's the knee, right? I mean, that's what we're all scared of. I mean, the ACL, LCL, MCL, these are things that I'm always scared about hurting. So with leg locks, I mean, I always tap prematurely. If I think they got a strong leg lock, I'm not going to even wait for them to rip my knee apart. Obviously, I'm just going to tap right then and there. And I know that philosophy goes for everything, but just with the knees, I don't know. Maybe it's like a psychological thing. I'm much more mindful of it. I'm scared of that. I don't want anything to happen, so I do that. But after watching all these EBIs, man, I got inspired today. I tapped a guy with a heel hook. Oh, nice. I mean, they got me kind of working them more, but at the same time, yeah, it's something that I try to stay away from.
I feel like the finish is less interesting than just sort of like the pinning combinations that come out of sort of the intertanglement of the legs and killing the hips and, you know, just sort of like strategically how you set them up and stuff. Because like we were working earlier today. We like you went Berimbolo, like, but you were going for like a Berimbolo. We were like messing around nogi.
Yeah.
And when you put your De La Hiva hook all the way across my hip, I'm like, you got to watch this. That's old school De La Hiva. And like you could sit right into that rolling calf slicer, which like what I call like the infinity lock or something. Dude, I love giving like corny dramatic names to moves. Like if there's not like an absolute like name to that move, I've probably given it a corny name, and I haven't put my name on it. I kept having Mike put his, like, he kept trying to name stuff after me, and I'm like, don't stop doing that, man. Like I know that move was probably invented like 500 years ago in like China or India or something, and like it's probably very offensive to some dude in Japan that like showed this back in the 50s, you know?
Bro, I'm still waiting for the Cronin crush. I mean, I've been talking about this for about 2 years now. That's a move that we need to patent, the Cronin crush or the Cronin crusher. I'm open to variations, but something along those lines.
Man, Mike Prudencio, our you know, our main One World instructor, he kept trying to name this one shoulder lock that I started doing, or like, I guess I mean, technically no one taught it to me. I just kind of figured it out on my own. He kept calling it the Clint lock, and I'm like, man, I don't want to call it that. So I started calling it like shoulder exploder, because I thought that sounded way cooler, because that's like more like how it felt to me. And then he's like, call it like Clint shoulder exploder. I was like, all right, it's like CSE, but it still didn't sound good. And I'm sure like I didn't invent it, but like no one taught it to me. And it was just like I had an idea one day, and based on just like, I'm really into shoulder locks. Just I got a bunch of them, a bunch of weird ones, and I've always been real fascinated by like sort of like how the shoulder works, how the knee works, like, you know, what's the most efficient way to rip one apart, kind of.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of ways to do it, but like, what's the low what's like the Diet Coke, like low 0 calorie version of doing it? Like, what's the easiest way to use my whole body against the shoulder? Like, whether it's a Kimura, you know, whether it's from, you know, some kind of failed stack pass, or, you know, whatever. Like, I even used this old like wrestling move that it was actually pretty big in like old school WWF. It's like the crossface chicken wing. And it hurts so bad, dude.
Yeah, is that the one that you get? It's kind of like a rear naked choke / chicken wing / like bicep slicer. Is that one?
Well, that like,
because you cut me in that before.
Well, basically, I just like, I get the guy's wrist behind their back to like, and I get like my chest to back to where like there's no space to like get it out. Then like I come underneath the forearm, and I connect over my forearm, my right arm. So this is the left arm. My right arm comes around the chin, and I basically like kind of crank back on the chin, like kind of crossface out as I like open the shoulder and kind of crank up on it. And you're basically separating the guy's shoulder at the scapula, and you're using the chin as like a lever or a fulcrum. Yeah. If you watch Bob Backlund when he was a bad guy, like going against Bret the Hitman Hart, his mom had to throw in the towel. It was so sad. I was upset. I was a big Bret the Hitman Hart fan.
Was that the WWF?
Yeah. That's like, because like to that family, like they were so into the like pro wrestling thing. Like the family, the father was a promoter like way back in the 50s and shit. And he came from like a shoot wrestling, like catch wrestling, then eventually pro wrestling background. And they're like royalty in Calgary. They had a whole mansion. The basement was called the dungeon, because like he would train all these like, you know, Billy Robinson would go over there and train with him. It's like Stu Hart. Yeah. It's like they were like legendary Canadian family. So like, I think there was like fucking a dozen or so of the brothers and sisters, and like all of them were wrestlers. And Bret was like the biggest one, like the most famous one. So like there's actually been like somebody from the UFC from Calgary came after Bret the Hitman Hart's music and shit.
Oh, wow.
It's like, yeah, he's like, there was like he owned a hockey team at one point, the Calgary Hitmen.
That was the hockey team?
Yeah. That's Bret the Hitman Hart, the Calgary Hitman.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh yeah, you mean like what's the NHL team in Calgary? The Oilers, I think it is.
The Calgary.
We should ask the Irfanian brothers.
It's not the Flames.
Right? I don't. Maybe you're right. I think it's the Flames and it's the Edmonton Oilers.
It is the Edmonton Oilers.
You're right. Yeah.
Well, they're both Alberta-based hockey teams, right?
Yeah, fun place.
Yeah,
Spring break, Alberta.
Where's isn't
Manitoba?
Where's Brock Lesnar living now in Canada?
Brock Lesnar, I think it was just north of Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he still like Saskatoon or something?
Yeah, because he walked out, right? If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, for UFC 200
with the Canadian shirt.
Yeah, and some people were like, "What? Oh, you're not American," and he was just like, "No, I just reside there, whatever."
Well, he was in Minnesota. He was like that's where he went to college, and you know that's where he was for a while.
Minnesota,
and then you know he's so honestly. I know like Brock and Dana have a pretty good relationship business wise, and I'm guessing personally as well. Recently, there have been Brock Lesnar, Dana White photos posted.
Oh, yeah.
So every time his contract's up with either of these organizations, either WWE or UFC, he's pretty shrewd about the negotiations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this last Monday on wrestling, like this is the news right now. This is the Lesnar news. He was supposed to be on Monday Night Raw, right? Because the night before they had the big pay-per-view. So Ronda Rousey, she came out and signed her contract on wrestling, right?
Mm.
But like she already signed. It was just like
It's for fans.
Well, no, it was a storyline thing. They're just progressing the storyline, right? So the match at WrestleMania is going to be her and that guy, the guy that won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling, Kurt Angle.
So I've heard of him.
He won. Well, yeah, he beat a Persian dude.
How dare he?
In '96 at the Olympics with a broken freaking neck.
How dare he?
I know, right? That asshole. Nima's not Persian. Nima's Persian.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's going to be those two teamed up against like the owners or whatever, like the Triple H and like Vince McMahon's daughter Stephanie. Like that's going to be the WrestleMania match. Like that's what the whole thing is. That's what, like they're not. They haven't said it yet, but that's what it is. Anyway, so Brock Lesnar was supposed to be like at this show apparently, but he was, instead of being at the show in Vegas, he was out with like Dana White.
I saw that on Bleacher Report.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, his contract with pro wrestling is a little bit different than most. Like he already met his contractual obligations for like number of dates he was scheduled to work. So because of that, he's really, like, what I've heard is he's probably more interested in his new contract than sort of fulfilling whatever, new dates or like progressing their storyline. Cause like their annual big show of the year is WrestleMania. That's next month. Mm-hmm. And Lesnar's contract's over right after that.
Interesting.
And then Dana's saying like, it's very, very, very good chance he's coming back to UFC. I'm like, he's 40. Yeah. Is he really really? Or like, do you think like Dana's just like helping him out to get paid a little better?
I saw that thing on Bleacher Report that it was a quote, very, very, very highly likely that he's going to do that. And I just feel that it's funny to see like politics being played in the UFC with some guys getting popped for roids and what happens to them. Guys like John Jones, for example. And I'm not saying John Jones didn't deserve it. I mean, listen, if you're like what he did, like, hitting a pregnant woman, running a stop sign or a stoplight, whatever it was, and hitting a pregnant woman with his Bentley. I mean, that guy's he's crazy, right? I mean, he's a partier, and that's to say it lightly. But to see like what type of flack he gets, opposed to like, let's say Brock Lesnar with that Mark Hunt fight, and Brock got popped for roids, I can understand where Mark Hunt's coming from. I mean, these guys are big guys and they're super strong, and I just feel like there needs to be a little bit more transparency, and people need to be traded more fairly.
I think, the way it was handled with Jones and Lesnar has a lot of people a little bit confused. And I think we're missing some details on really, when they knew, about Lesnar's result versus when they knew about Jones's.
Yeah.
And the nature of it, exactly. I think with the public, there's a lot of assumptions that are made about like, what type of, test failure is what, and then, I don't know for sure that, it was absolutely something intentionally bad for either of them. Mm. I know the cocaine thing was like so stupid. Just in that position, I get it, man. They're out, they're young, they're showered with attention and money and all this stuff, and like, I'm not perfect. I can.
Which one are you talking about? Sorry to interrupt.
Well, there's been so many now. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the point. Yeah. It's like any punishment he gets is like people are getting tired of it, man. Like how many times is like this guy going to let his fans down?
You see what happened with him in the California Commission?
Yeah,
like 4 years. I mean, like lifetime ban, like $205,000. Well,
they revoked his license and they fined him $205,000 just last week.
So the cocaine thing that I heard about, and maybe this was just speculation, but they thought that his powder, his fun powder, was cut with some creatine, and that's what he had inhaled, or I'm sorry, snorted, and that got in his system, and that's what popped him for.
Man, just at this point, it's like just stop, just stop, like, because even that sort of speculation's like, who does that help?
Yeah.
Like, does that make anything any better? I mean, right now, it's the rules are like the way they are. they're in cat and mouse game. And honestly, what's going to happen is the type of regulations they're putting out there is just going to force the athletes with the money or the resources or the camps that have that to find better chemists and shit that's not, and more experimental drugs.
Yeah. They need like the Balco types, right, to bypass Jeff Novinsky.
Well, yeah, and what you got to realize is you got all these like underground labs or whatever you want to call them that are making all kinds of stuff that isn't going to get picked up.
Yeah,
and it's almost like, well, if they're doing that, is that more dangerous? Because just because it doesn't pop on this test, the stuff that is on the test, a lot of that stuff has been studied.
Yeah,
right. And I mean, like, you still have guys in their 40s and 30, 40, whatever, Brock Lesnar, late 30s, and should he be allowed to take stuff? I mean, he clearly, man,
he's a big guy, dude.
I know he's already a big guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had certain thoughts about the TRT thing when that was still, you're able to get therapeutic exemption with your doctor and stuff.
Yeah.
They had a few cases where I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, if you abused your body when you were young, bodybuilding or doing whatever, and your body doesn't produce tests anymore, it's like, well, is that not nature telling you to probably calm the fuck down? Like, your endocrine system's a mess. Like, should you be competing in high level stuff? Like, how's your heart going to handle it?
Yeah.
Like, then the other one was like, you could have like traumatic brain injuries to where you stop producing testosterone naturally. Again, is that not nature saying maybe you should probably not be doing that shit?
Yeah, bro. I don't know about you, but after 40, I'm really thinking about this HGH.
There's studies done with like diabetes and HGH, and that it in like low doses of that or like IGF-1, like there are benefits for diabetics and stuff. So like, and just being like, more not requiring as much insulin to use. So that's really interesting to me in particular. The anti-aging stuff is cool too, but I feel like by then the science on anti-aging and stuff is going to be like much better. Mm-hmm. Just for like aesthetics, they have those collagen replacement shots now where you basically can be very old and look very, very young, which is pretty crazy.
Modern medicine.
Yeah. It's the same, same sort of like, path as the what do you call those stem cell injections they do?
Oh yeah.
Well, there's Regenikine, and then like they're also talking. I was watching an episode of Joe Rogan Experience, like everybody else, and they're doing the intravenous, so IV stem cell shots, not just intramuscular or localized, which is supposed to be like way more potent, but it's not legal in the United States.
Bro, I'm trying to get on. I mean, I'll talk to an endocrinologist first, make sure that, as I say, dot my I's, cross my T's, make sure everything is fine. But those are things that I really want to get into as I get older. As long as it's safe, just to ensure that I can train as much as I can. I mean, dude, Rogan's saying I'm 50 years old and I feel like I was training when I was 32. I mean, dude, that's like music to my ears when I'm that age. I still want to be rolling at that age, man. What is that? What's 50? Masters 3? What do they call that?
No, that's up there though. Like, because 35 is Masters 2, so I guess 40 is Masters 3. It's like Masters 5 or 6.
Yeah, I want to do Masters 5 or 6, man. I want to be like all with my gray hair, or bald, or whatever, and just holding that Naga belt and be like, "What?" And then watching my grandson be like, "I'm proud of you, Grandpa."
So I got to drag you up to San Francisco next week. We're gonna. The next podcast episode is a preview, guys. Michael Hillebrand from 10th Planet San Francisco.
That'll be fun.
He's a 10th Planet black belt. I think he runs like the peninsula, sort of Peninsula Bay Area gym. Mm-hmm. But he also teaches and trains under Denny Prokopis at 10th Planet San Francisco. So we'll be recording over there before class probably, and we're invited to train with the guys, roll around, stuff like that, learn some stuff, and a little bit of nogi action. 10th Planet. Denny's solid black belt.
Obrigado. I've been wanting to get in that 10th Planet and work that more often. My leg lock game needs to get better. I need to get a lot better at that, and then I'll start competing at nogi too.
So they're doing more leg locks at 10th Planet. They're like, they're not like known as like the leg lock gym as as some are, but they're catching up. They're definitely implementing more of it. The strategies pretty solid. You see the guys going for him a little bit more often, like going towards the legs. I mean, like you look at traditionally like how jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu systems are constructed, and like John Danner basically said, it's like you're basically trying to go basically from the feet upwards. You beat the feet to the knees to the hips upward toward the upper body, into some sort of pin where you're progressively like improving position, whereas like the position you're in is like increased severity, like potentially I could hit you and cause more damage to you in this position. Like that's how the points are awarded, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with leg locks, it's like you're not just going one way. You can also grab a leg, and like there's also, there's just the implication of like leg placement is like this big deal, right?
Yeah.
Being inside leg, it's like there's a whole thing now. You can start working these different things, and whereas like with legs and gi jiu-jitsu, we're basically trying to smash the hips together and dominate the hips, and from there we're like, okay, now we'll talk about upper body, because now we've isolated the person's hips, which is like their main mobility. It's their main weapon, right? It's like, but with no gi, where you're looking at leg locks as well, or even with gi with leg locks as well, it's not necessarily just that path, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're operating in 2.5 dimensions instead of 1.5.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. There's some things that I like about no gi too. I feel just generally I feel more free. I mean, I've gotten a lot more used to the gi, but I come from like that striking background. So for me, the fight shorts and like the rash guard, I mean, it just feels a little bit more natural. But I've gotten so much more used to like using the lapel, going for those bow and arrow chokes, and just a traditional version of that martial art that I'm practicing. For me that means a lot too, and I know the gi comes into that. So dude, UFC 222 this weekend. I was excited to see the pride of Waianae, Max Holloway. Shout outs to you, Jake Bell, your fellow Oahu brother, Gracie Technics, Ryan Lazarius. He getting injured, Brian Ortega jumping in. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, first of all, per Conor McGregor's social media channels, he said he tried to throw his hat in there as well, and offered to fight Frankie Edgar, but it didn't happen for whatever reason, which is disappointing, because I've long wanted to see Frankie Edgar against Conor McGregor. I have questions. I've always been a huge proponent, a huge fan of Frankie. Like there isn't a bigger heart in all of pro sports, I think.
Shout out to Tom River, New Jersey.
That's hometown right there. No, Frankie's a fucking great dude, and just solid martial artist. His timing, his cardio, like his tenacity, like he doesn't quit. You can't help but love the guy, man. He's Frankie Edgar's the man. I really wanted to see how he would do with Conor. Just he's the guy keeps going. I mean, just watch this. Remember the fight he had with Gray Maynard? Like he was almost done. Yeah. It was like a 10-8 round. He came back.
Love that savage.
Came back and he knocked him out.
Hey, did you see his UFC gym, the new one that he opened in New Brunswick?
In New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Yeah, he opened up. I only know that because I was watching the countdown, but he opened up this UFC gym, and it's open all. I thought of you. I'm like, I wonder if Clint went over.
New Brunswick is closer to the city.
Okay.
So that's like a commuter gym kind of thing, or unless you live closer to North Jersey, the city.
Yeah. It's
not very close to Tom's River. Like you're heading, so you start on the Parkway and like exit 81 or 82. Mm-hmm. Then you'd head all the way up to like the Raritan fucking toll plaza, just like New Brunswick. You're damn near in New York City at that point.
Okay.
So it's a trek. But like at that point, it's like, fuck, you might as well just go over and see Almeida, or like just go right to Danaher's spot, like, or I should say Renzo Gracie's spot, right? No, I'm sure it's awesome. Those UFC gyms are usually pretty full featured. I've never been in the one in Sunnyvale.
I haven't either, but I'm surprised that you haven't. I thought you would have at least. You would have checked it out.
No, it's like, what do you do? Like 24-hour access to mats. Like I have that.
The way I always looked at it, bro, correct me if I'm wrong, just from what I heard about these UFC gyms, they just seem like a 24-hour fitness for MMA fans, wannabes, whatever, a bunch of them, like guys just come over there like, yeah, I train, bro. Those cats that you would see with the tap out shirts at the bar, and maybe I'm painting with a broad brush here, but that's just the feeling that I got. That's the feedback that I got. For example, they have a cage there, but you're not allowed to spar.
So you're not the first person I've heard make that assumption. And I checked out the first one that opened wherever the hell that is, like heading towards Sacramento.
Oh yeah, Concord area. It's like that 925 area. Yeah. I've seen it off the freeway.
So I checked that gym out once. I'll tell you what, if it's much that place compared to 24-hour fitness, it was pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
it was nice. They had much more modern equipment, like in terms of like functional training and stuff like that. So if you were just doing a gym membership to do weights and stuff, it was. Plus, there's a ton of classes.
Well, tell me this: what type of as far as like MMA instruction, as far as being able to spar, as far as the level of jiu-jitsu?
I think if you're looking at getting into those things, like as like a hobbyist or like for self-defense or like cardio, that seems to be a good option.
Okay, so it's gonna be like, all right, jump in the kickboxing class. All right, now jab. Jab. Jab to like techno music, stuff like that.
No, I mean they have legit instructors at a lot of them. I think in terms of like hard sparring, I don't like it. They originally didn't. I don't know if they do now. But like it's more fitness than I think competitive martial arts. But guys compete from there. Like you don't
like you hear from people like UFC gym Sunnyvale.
I've heard it announced over loudspeakers at some tournaments here locally.
That'd be interesting.
In terms of like how they do compared to say like, some of the larger teams. It's newer, and people are like, jiu-jitsu guys are going to like. I'm going to be honest with you, it'd be kind of cringy, and I don't like to say it because I want to be respectful to all these academies. Like anybody out there that's like going and training martial arts, like I have respect for that, but. Still, like it's like that you have that stigma of like UFC bro, like it's like we're in like an NFL thing. I don't know. It's just like
I know exactly.
It's kind of cringy. I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't know that.
Yeah.
If I'd love to wear UFC merchandise if I fought in the UFC or like I worked for them, but like I don't. Then like going to the gym, I would just feel like super fan all the time.
Like, don't be that guy.
I don't know. It's personally like it would be a hang up for me and.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, and I'm sure there's like people from UFC gym that don't want to hear that, but and I'm sure there's like plenty of good instructors, and I mean, I know there's plenty of good instructors that run those gyms.
Hey, they got to make their money, and I mean, if they're getting paid well, if they're getting if they're nice facilities and they're getting paid well, especially if they're getting paid well, or they're getting paid better than their former gym, I ain't mad at them, and no problem. But like the questions that I had was. Like how's the sparring, for example? Do you promote? Do you guys have belt promotions? What is the caliber of jiu-jitsu program?
The black belt that runs the jiu-jitsu program over at UFC gym, it's a friend of ours. It's Alan Marquez. It's Gumby. So that is a Half Gracie black belt that's legit as hell. It's the guy that also runs Heroes. I think he has it's like him and some of his brown belts that teach the classes. So it is legit. It's a legit place, but I don't know that there's like very many higher belts over there. Like in terms of having 24-hour access to mats for people to be able to drop in whenever, it's pretty cool, right? It's just for me, I have that.
Yeah,
like I already have my whole gym situation like covered anywhere, but I'm lucky and I have like that. I have that set up in life, like just because I've been around forever, I know everybody. Sounds stupid, but like if I didn't have that and it was like, oh, I can go roll whenever I want, 24 hours a day. Well, I'm about to leave town or I got to work or blah, blah, whatever. But honestly, for people that like really want to train at odd hours, they should just hit up my 6:30 a.m. class, man, the fuck up, and come to AKA Sunnyvale and train with me. Like that's what you should do.
Yeah, man.
Right? You should come there. It's better.
Dude, you got Yago pulling those double days. He's been doing that for a while. He's been competing like a freaking beast.
One of my purple belts is actually graduating on to teaching his own classes over at. He's going to be teaching like a morning program just like the one I started at AK Sunnyvale over at One World.
Oh, Stang?
So Stang, yeah. So tomorrow's his last day over in Sunnyvale, and we're gonna do a little something for him.
So
like I think someone's bringing like coffee and donuts or something. We're taking him out for breakfast and shit. And
nice.
fucking
that guy's a cool cat. I like Stang a lot.
Stang's a good
nice
guy. He's been on here. He's what he has like honey bee farm. He has like he makes honey.
Don't get stung, get Stang.
He has like a whole gimmick thing. His name was Stang, and like they're bee farmers. Like that's not even like on purpose. I wonder if like for like hundreds of years, like that's what the family did, and like that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just making things up, but he's a cool guy. I've known him for a long time. He used to have this terrible beard, and like then he shaved, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this guy. He's fucking cool. So I used to see the beard, and I was fucking grossed out. I hated it. Love you, Stang. I just hated your beard so much. But like then I grew one. But like it's just so I don't have like so you can't tell I have like 5 or 6 chins.
I mean, to be fair, his beard was significantly
it was
more
like
seasoned than yours.
No, his is like braided. And like there was a bird's nest in it or something. I don't remember.
I thought he was gonna go like what's his name? Beltran, Mike Beltran. You know the referee with the huge braids, those 2 big long braids that come down to like his waist. You know what I'm talking about? He was a UFC.
Yeah, he's a UFC referee with the weird Rapunzel beard.
Yeah, I think he also refs for Bellator and even EBI.
They all ref for fucking everything, man. Yeah. They're in all organizations, right? Because they're referees through the athletic commission, right? So they get paid by the whatever, but it's they're state certified referees, you know.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
So they're like, oh, we got this guy. You got the lady with the hair. Or you got Big John, who was gone from UFC for a while, but came back. You got Herb Dean.
Yeah, Big John's gone now, though, right?
Is he gone again?
Yeah, I think he's with Bellator. He's like one of their
MC guys. He's on the thing. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Herb Dean.
That's one of the most interesting Joe Rogans I've heard. Actually, was I wouldn't say the most interesting, but he was on Joey Diaz, I think. Also, he's talking about his his life as a police officer and stuff in Torrance and shit before becoming a UFC referee, and he was one of the early Gracie Academy students, along with UFC founder Art Davie, also an alumni of Clint Cronin show.
I remember that episode.
He's part of the Cronin Club. That's a thing. I think I just made a hand gesture. I don't know what it was though.
Did you know that Did you know that Big John McCarthy has a book?
Does he?
Yeah, I haven't read it, but apparently it's after his catchphrase, "Let's get it on."
That's clever.
It's called "Let's Get It On." Yeah.
I think Art Davie just came out with another book too. I just saw it. I think he just posted it. I think it was like some Greek ancient thing. I gotta look at it. That's the worst book plug I've ever done before. But I'll certainly I'll put the link somewhere. Yeah. I'll look at it because his last book, How Is This Legal? I think is what it's called. Like how he created the UFC with Jorge and Gracie and company. It's a pretty good book. Gosh, definitely check it out. Art Davie should be in the UFC Hall of Fame. The fact that he isn't right now is bullshit. He invented it.
Yeah,
the guy invented it. So like, before Chuck Liddell or Ken Shamrock or any of that stuff, before Dana White or Fertitas or fucking the Serena Williams or fucking Ben Affleck or whoever, Carrot Top, whoever the fuck owns you. I don't know who owns you. I don't even care. But before any of that, it was Art Davie. So like that guy should be in the UFC Hall of Fame, because if that guy didn't have the idea for it, there wouldn't be one.
Word. Yeah, very true. So speaking of going back to the UFC, 222 this weekend. I'm very excited to see Brian Ortega. Dude, I've been big on this guy for the past few years.
You're a fan, I know.
I geek out over his submissions. His guard is just so freaking nasty. And I love his story. You know, he's a kid from the projects, right, in East LA, came up, hanging out with the wrong guys. A guy found him and, you know, threw him in with the Gracies. And, I mean, hey, when you got Henner cornering you like he does, it's really cool to see him fight. And he, just this last fight that he fought down in Fresno, on my birthday, December 9th, he fought Cub Swanson. That submission was awesome, dude. I really like watching this guy. Because, you know, there's that jiu-jitsu and there's that MMA jiu-jitsu, right? His MMA, outside of his regular jiu-jitsu, his MMA jiu-jitsu is freaking awesome to watch.
Where do you, like, draw the line? Like, what would you... Like for MMA jiu-jitsu, like what would you like say like the big distinction is between the two?
Good question. For me, the first thing that comes to my mind is leg locks, or even with the guard, because with jiu-jitsu guys, they're not used to blocking their face from strikes, Right, but with MMA jiu-jitsu, you're being mindful, right? You're using things like that rubber guard, right, where you can prevent damage, and you got to remember, you put both of your hands on a heel and you try to crank it. Well, you got to remember that guy has two fists that are going to be coming at your face.
Sure.
So it's like taking those things into consideration and modifying your jiu-jitsu for the cage.
So basically, guillotines.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Like that, guillotines, like the way your guard is, like having your hands up, blocking, continuously moving around, making sure it's the other guy, that's in your guard isn't raining elbows on your face.
I feel like the part of jiu-jitsu basically where you're using it to manage space specific, which is all jiu-jitsu, but like basically standing up. Even though people are like, oh, he's not grappling, he's just standing up. He's just standing up out of guard. It's like, well, yeah, that's a jiu-jitsu technique, like getting back up. Yeah, that's part of it. Like that's the whole system of like competition jiu-jitsu is like up is better than down. Yep. You're trying to find up, which I mean, like guys that play berimbolo and like there's they're trying to submit from bottom all the time, or like they're trying to go bottom deliberately, like seated guard, like sitting into guard, like double, guys where they double pull guard and stuff like that. Yeah. Obviously, like that's a little bit of like an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But like, it's even like what combat jiu-jitsu is, right? The idea that like
the slaps,
well, the moves where they would normally go, like different leg lockers, submission attempts were like, yeah, you're committing 2-on-1. Mm-hmm. And now you can get, lit up, you can get smacked or, palm striked and, struck.
Well, think about it this way, Clinton. If a move that I've been working on a lot lately is the mounted triangle. And let's say I get into that high mount somehow, right? And they're protecting it with like that X thing, just protecting the neck like that. Well, I mean, imagine if I was able to just rain down a bunch of palm strikes and just break up that grip, loosen up that arm, and then shoot in for the triangle, right? I mean, we're not used to these things in jiu-jitsu generally, but when you incorporate that into your game, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, the idea of protecting your face, because we're, gi jiu-jitsu, you're symbolically you're protecting your neck, mm-hmm. You're protecting your sleeves and your jacket and all this stuff, which that can there's parallels obviously in no-gi wrestling as well, but wrestlers have a better idea of defending their legs. Jiu-jitsu guys traditionally don't do it because they don't have to do it as much. Mm-hmm. Like they sprawl, like they're like, oh, it's that thing you do in warm up, but they don't really think about it in terms of like defending their legs. So, in no-gi, even though there's like no spider guard or whatever, if the gi jiu-jitsu guys knew how to defend their legs better, like there wouldn't be a spider guard in fucking gi either.
Yeah.
Because if you can't control the guy's legs, it doesn't matter how much you wrap around in these different, lasso grips or spider grips. Like if they can't control your legs also, they might as well not even bother. Yeah, but just having that, more well-rounded game is totally necessary. But like whatever the rules are for the fight, like you have to be ready to adapt. So, doing everything, man, like going out there and doing no-gi, even with like the little, the MMA gloves, it's, the Bellator style where it's, you can still kind of grapple, but like you can't poke people in the eyes. Mm-hmm. Like, adding that in there, that's the original jiu-jitsu, right? Adding a little bit of strikes, whether it's slaps or, light punches or whatever you're training, just to give you an idea, like, are you as safe as you think you are in these positions?
Yeah, and I like those gloves a lot more, man, because I wear contacts. My vision is really bad. I'm like -9 or -10 power or something like that. I'm like, at some place I could technically be like legally blind without my contacts. And one thing that always scared me with like an MMA fight, because I was open to it for a while, it was getting eye poked. And what if my contact falls out? I'm like, dude, I'm screwed.
Yeah, we had who is it? Gion's lady. She lost a contact during training. No, I'm sorry. I lied. Sorry, it was Kim. Tyler. Kim Cow? Is that how you say it?
I don't know her last name.
It's CAO. Anyway, she lost a contact during her second match in this the SF Open this last weekend. And they're like, oh, here, we'll put it in some water. I'm like, throw that out.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's garbage. You have more at home, I promise. Tyler, drive her home. Do not put that back in your eye. We're not friends if you fucking do that. That's disgusting.
Yeah, so you would hate me. I do that a lot on the mat every time it comes to it, and I'm not proud of it. But
Dude, it's so dangerous.
But you will be proud of me because now I have these one-time use ones because my normal contacts are 2 weeks. I have the one-time use ones and I keep them in my bag just in case. And if that happens, I'll throw the other one out and put those in.
Dude, yeah, like I don't care how much saline solution, like I could give you a list of things that can go terribly wrong with fucking putting that contact back in your fucking head. Like, so if you think about it this way, right? Like, here's your eyeball, then your optic nerve, then your brain. You get a fucking infection there.
Yeah.
Like, that's death quick.
And those mats are disgusting.
Like something like Staph MRSA or like Pseudomonas or something, like one of those like flesh-eating bacterias.
Yeah. In my dome, no thanks.
Well, no, like you wind up losing the eye quick. And if you don't lose the eye, you die. And that sounds all dramatic. People out there, Google Pseudomonas, Pseudomonas. It's like one of the most painful things that could fucking happen to you. It's an eye infection. This shit's fucking terrible.
Dude, that's pretty nutty. I never knew that. Damn. So I'm happy that I stopped doing that. But they say LASIK, even with LASIK, they say that if you get LASIK, like your eyes are super sensitive. So because some people are like, well, why don't you just get LASIK? And then you won't have to worry about that anymore. I'm like, well, that's a good point. But the thing is, the laser opening that they make on your iris, to open it up and then do whatever they got to do and fold it back up, your eye is like permanently weaker. This is what I heard. I haven't talked to an ophthalmologist about it yet. So you still can't get eye poked. You still can't have those types of things happen to you. In fact, it can be even worse.
So there's two types of the procedure. There's LASIK and LASIK. And that sounds like corny. Like it's like LASIK.
Oh, is it really? Because I never knew that.
And the one, instead of like cutting it, like use it's whatever, like they use like a thing to dissolve that layer of like tissue over on top of like that part of your eye, the cornea, retina, whatever it is. And then they do whatever they do, and then that's it.
Wow, really?
There's two of them.
See, I need to go get a freaking consultation, man. Because if that's the case, this is something that I'm open to.
So find a really reputable ophthalmologist. Don't use a Groupon.
We'll use our Groupon for cryotherapy, not for our eyes, huh?
Yeah, like so for when it comes to services, when it's like, well, what are you trying to get worked on? Is it your car? Okay, all right, that's probably pretty important.
Yep.
Is it your vision? Right. Mm-hmm. Is it something, what I'm saying? Like,
heart? Yeah.
Your heart.
I'm
like,
not gonna find my cardiologist on Groupon either.
Yeah, like, okay, I get it. You're gonna get a discount on your fucking whatever. You're a florist. That's cool. If your lady doesn't like the flowers, if your dude doesn't like the flowers, then you're buying a dude flowers.
That's pretty weird.
I don't know. I've received flowers before. It was awkward, but I appreciated the gesture.
What do you do with them? Because I literally feel like, I'm sorry for going off on a tangent, but if someone brought me flowers, I would just look at them stone faced and be like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Well, I didn't have to like get them face to face. Like they were like left as a gesture.
Oh, I see.
Like I think like one time it was on like my car, and then another time it was on my front door.
Dude, I would take him to my mom. I know your mom lives in Vegas. My mom's close. I would take him to my mom. I'm like, hey mom, I bought you these.
I'm like, I had to find the gimmick to put them in, like the vase or vase or whatever you call it. And I had to put them in there, and I'm like, I just had flowers, and I didn't like. Eventually, they weren't the same color anymore, and they started shriveling and shit. But I put them in the thing, and they were lovely. I appreciated them, but I didn't. I didn't know.
Yeah, we dudes like we don't know what to do with flowers. Like, well, what the hell is this, and what am I supposed to do with it? And we should do like a study. I should bring some flowers for Jake on Monday. Just show up to train, like, hey Jake, these are for you, just to appreciate like everything you do. Thank you. And with like a straight face, like give him like a freaking dozen peonies or roses or something like that, and see how he responds.
Well, dude didn't give me the flowers.
I know.
I don't think Jake would like you very much if you bought him flowers. He'd have to explain that shit to people. That's an awkward conversation. That's way more awkward than my conversation right now with you. Like, Nima bought me flowers. Okay.
Well, it was a gesture, right? Like, hey, thank you for everything you do. Life is beautiful. This is the sun of life. These photosynthesize. They freshen your home. This is for you, my brother.
Well, you could have just said all that awkward shit and probably been doing better. Most people probably received that just as awkwardly. Like they'd say, "Well, you're welcome," or like, "No worries, man." They'd say something back, and like that exchange would be over, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
You're probably a little bit better at like sharing those sorts of feelings than I am, because I got kind of cringy just hearing all that.
You know what? But with Jake, he would look at me super weird, and he would just wait for Jasmine to come through with the kids, and be like, "Hey, babe, I bought you these," right in front of me. Like, don't you say anything.
Man, so you're like the other woman.
Yeah.
Buying some flowers for your jiu-jitsu instructor for fucking Monday and Tuesday class.
Hey, Clint, don't say that. Men and women are equal.
Okay. I don't have that conversation with people of like, if people have like really strong opinions on that and argue about that, that's their prerogative.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about other stuff. And if people are passionate about that, or then that's a cool thing, I guess, to be passionate. I don't know. But like, I don't get people that are in anime either. I don't like, or like Furbies, or like what do you call those other things? Like
yeah.
Like, I don't
furries. They call them
furries. Like I don't get that. Like I don't get people that are into like the My Little Pony shit, like the brony guys, or like I don't get that either.
Have you ever seen those cats at Comic-Con? Because I heard sometimes they go furry people.
No, like they have their own thing now.
Oh,
there's Furry Con, and there's Brony Con, which is like dudes that watch out, like they're in like really into My Little Pony. That's and weird. So like they dress up like it, and it's like they go to My Little Pony convention. I know this because fucking Gumby, Alan from Heroes, we mentioned earlier, his school is right across the street from Convention Center in San Jose. Mm-hmm. So he sees these like people that are dressed like animatronic or anthropomorph. I don't fucking know. Like they're like big hush puppy costumes and shit. Like they're dressed like a fucking big ass teddy bear or something. I don't fucking know. Like,
bro, that's hella weird.
Or a dog. But like, do you listen to this shit? Like there's in the My Little Pony ones, there's people that they're just into it, like they're fans of it, not whatever the fuck they are. Mm-hmm. And cool, enjoy. But there's a subculture of them that are like the taboo ones that like they sexualize it. So they're called clompers. Like they jerk off to My Little Pony.
Wow.
Yep, clompers.
That's normal.
Google that, folks. If you're over 18, if you're not, fucking don't. This is for adults.
So I'm just trying to think of the psychiatric nature of these individuals who are, indulging in things like that. And I'm just trying to wonder, like, what went wrong, and like, what do they see, and how that turns them on, like a My Little Pony.
I don't know, man. But based on the climate of today's politics, it's like you have to outlaw uncles. Like every uncle everywhere has to just be outlawed. Because like clearly that'll solve the problem. If there were just no uncles, there'd be no creepiness, and like your kids would like regular shit and not My Little Pony porn.
Yeah.
Like
that's true. That's true.
I don't know. Is that too political?
No, I mean, I hope nobody does that to me just because I love my niece and nephew. I'm a cool uncle, but like all the other uncles, yeah.
No, I meant like the rapey ones, like the funny kind, not haha.
Like Ian McCall. What's his middle name?
Is Ian McCall rapey?
Well, no, like his nickname is like
Uncle Creepy.
Yeah,
well, that's him. No, not like, I mean like molesty, not that kind of creepy. Ian McCall's, that's the dude from, what do you call it, right? UFC. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He didn't do nothing, did he?
No, he didn't. It's just his name.
No, it's just his name. Like that's, I wouldn't call.
We like you, Ian McCall. I actually like your fighting style too. He recently went to a different promotion. I think it's like ONE FC he went to, or one of these places overseas.
That's the Southeast Asian one.
They trying to get that money, dog.
Is it Singapore?
Yeah, Ben Askren's with them.
Funky. It's that's a Duke Rufus fellow.
Ben Askren, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that was like, damn it, no, we don't want CM Punk here. Now he's like, he's all cool with him. CM Punk's actually a pretty cool guy. Our buddy Dave trained with him for a little bit over at Gracie Academy in Torrance.
Oh, really?
It's supposed to be really nice, yeah.
Nice.
He's one of these guys that's actually like zero drugs, zero alcohol, zero anything.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember he was talking about that on Embedded. I'm like, first of all, that's freaking insane. Number two, like insane in a way, like how do you get through life? Number two, I felt bad for him.
Why?
Because I felt bad that they threw him to Mickey Gall.
Oh.
Mickey Gall being this freaking like high level brown belt, right? And poor CM Punk. But yeah, credit to CM Punk. He still handled business. He still wants to get back in there. I'm out here like, dude, CM Punk, you've made a lot of money. What are you doing? Why are you bashing your face in for that? I don't know what type of contract he has with the UFC. But I remember watching him on Embedded, and it looks like his place is very nice in Chicago, and he's doing well for himself.
Well, no, it wasn't the UFC money, man. He made a lot of fucking money in WWE.
That's what I'm saying. So why is he doing this?
He wanted to.
Yeah,
he was fucking miserable in the WWE. He was miserable. He was like unapproachable backstage. Apparently, the guy was miserable.
Yeah,
it's like he went to the UFC, and he always wanted to. He said it's been his dream to do it. So it's like he gets the opportunity. You're not going to not do it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, can't be mad at him for that.
No, fuck no. It's cool. I mean, yeah, he got lit up by the kid, and now the guy in that Looking for a Fight show that Mickey Gall, the guy he beat, they were talking about him being CM Punk's next opponent. The other guy I heard them talking about was fucking Floyd Mayweather.
Really?
Yeah. Like that's been like on the fucking, drawing board, like an actual thing that's been in talks.
Dude, I would really, 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 really like to see Floyd Mayweather get heel hooked. That would be really fun to watch.
Well, the thing, so here's
just get submitted and be like, what is this?
So here's the thing, like Floyd hasn't worn these 4-ounce gloves.
Yeah.
He's also like 40, 50 pounds lighter than CM Punk.
And his hands are super freaking light. Like he's like notorious for breaking his hands with those boxing gloves, let alone wearing MMA gloves.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that he's very specific when he's negotiating fights about like the type of gloves that they wear and the material and the padding and all this stuff. Like he's very, very specific about it. Which whatever. But like here's the thing though, like that he could it's totally fathomable that he would just knock CM Punk the fuck out because he's still Mayweather.
Yeah.
And that level of striking is not something he's going to be prepared for as a 40-year-old ex-pro wrestler that has trained and is an athlete, but like it's a different world.
Yeah.
Like he's not just a striker. He's probably the best one that we've seen in like a couple generations.
Do you know what the CM stands for in CM Punk? Because I don't.
Yeah. Well,
because I know his name is like Phil, right? His real name is Phil.
Phil Brooks. No, Brooks. He was when he was in the Indies, he was in a tag team with this one dude. And they were the Chick Magnets.
Oh, so that's what CM comes from, Chick Magnet.
Unless he decided it meant something else. Really, that's what it originally was.
Okay.
Which whatever. I mean, I've heard Cookie Monster.
Chick Magnet Punk.
Yep. Well, he's got that. The girl was just, it wasn't on like Oprah or something. She had a book come out like Crazy is My Superhero. I think his girlfriend, she's also a pro wrestler. She's retired. AJ Lee, AJ Brooks. It was a book about like she is bipolar or something like that. And so it's like Crazy is My Superpower. It's about her sort of.
Did she get that under check?
Huh?
Did she get that under check?
Yeah, apparently, but like the living like the pro wrestling lifestyle on tour and stuff, and they were trying to make it like they made her being crazy as like part of her character, like even though like she was actually like bipolar, and they were wanting to add more to that stuff and like really like dig in a little bit deeper, make it more personal, and I don't think like she was very comfortable with it.
Yeah,
like because it's like a soap opera thing. It's like. Which I'm not going to go all Joe Rogan and, hate on it and stuff because, like, fans are fans. Like, I'm not going to make fun of Game of Thrones because it's not real. But, it's whatever.
Did you like that, bro? When we were training today? At the last, what did I say? At the last, like, 15 seconds, I'm like, I'm just going to die on my shield. Take me out of my misery. Take me out of my misery, Jon Snow.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said.
I just kept trying to survive, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go out on my shield, man. What's up? Just take me out. Take me out with that arm triangle right now.
Oh, that's right. That's what we were doing.
Yeah. Mental illness is very difficult, and I know I'm totally going off my tangent here. It's for the person that's going through it, and for the caretaker or whatever, like husband, wife, the person that's there for them. Having the patience, and we all have hard days, and dealing with someone like that, it can be very difficult, and it's a real thing. Everybody has to have that stuff checked out, and unfortunately, there's such a stigma about it, and everyone always has to know that there's help out there, and they shouldn't go out there and just try to end their life. Like sometimes you see that happening. Very sad.
Too often.
Yeah, man.
There's We've got a real bad homeless problem in San Jose.
Yeah,
And
I noticed that's been getting worse.
There's a lot of mentally ill that are just sort of out there on the streets. Like they don't, there's not like really that much long-term care. They're trying to do stuff with these like small houses, tiny houses for the homeless and stuff out there. It's just like, it's really unfortunate. A friend of mine has a house in a pretty nice neighborhood, and one of the houses decides that they're going to rent it out to like a kind of a halfway house type thing for it's I guess some women that have they're like basically I don't know, they're basically homeless. But since they moved in there, it's been like countless calls to the police because like they're not supposed to have these certain guys over because they're sort of like under police supervision.
Yeah,
and they've had like it's like been like a whole gang element. There's been like some alleged like prostitution type stuff on the block now, and like it's basically killing the neighborhood. And like they rebuilt these like homeless encampments like right behind it now, and it's like just San Jose in general. I think just due to a lot of the construction that they're doing that in areas that otherwise had lots of homeless people, like they're just kind of moving them all different kind of areas and stuff. Like they'll get rid of them on one overpass, and it's like this whole puzzle. Yeah. So I mean, what happens if you build these these tiny house communities? Like, how does that work? I mean, what happens next? Like, are they going to get like the rehabilitation? Are they going to get like the therapy they need, or are they just going to put them somewhere?
Yeah, and that's a really good question.
Is it going to turn into like a San Jose favela kind of thing?
Yeah, and you see that a lot with the housing market as well. Those rising prices for renters, and people get priced out. And I can't even think of like, I don't know, drive down Monterey, drive down 880 when you pass Oakland Road, after like Casino Matrix, and like look on your upper left hand, that whole area. Drive up 280 north, like on my commute. I see this huge tent, like it's a tent like that would probably fit like 20 people. I pass by it every day. People living there, and it's really hard to see.
Yeah.
But it's like, what do you do? Unfortunately, those are some of the blemishes that we have in our society, especially when you come like with the haves and the have-nots, and we're all always in this daily mouse wheels, I like to call it, just to try to make ends meet. We have to do these goals, and we have to be yes men and listen to your boss and whatever, just to make some money to be able to to pay your bills and go off and do what you like to do. And unfortunately, it sucks that that's how society is. But yeah, man, I still feel really bad for these types of people.
So I had my my IBJJF ID. Like when you register, you get like the card. I think my new one's like right over there. I had it out because where I was at the SF Open, so I was going like kind of back to the little coaches area, whatever. Like there's like a black belt area. So I had it in my pocket, and I guess when I pulled my phone out, it fell out somewhere, and I lost the card. I'm like, no. So there's my black belt card. I gotta find it, right? And I'm looking everywhere. I'm asking all the people, like trying to like remember how to say it in Portuguese and shit. And it's like everybody's busy, and like it wasn't any of the tables, it wasn't anywhere. And I'm looking around. I'm like, well, I was in San Francisco over by Haight-Ashbury, so I remember going to Whole Foods with Mike at one point. Like we went over to get some food, and on my way back from looking at Whole Foods to see if I left it there, right? There was, there's that McDonald's right there next to Amoeba Records in Haight-Ashbury.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. All right. So I'm
right across the street from the park.
I'm walking parallel to across the street from the park, exactly on the side of McDonald's. And there's a homeless lady. There's like an older woman with like her blanket, but she had like a whole thing. Like her whole world was like in this, pretty big blanket. Like she had all kinds of shit there, right? All kinds of shit. It was a lot of stuff. And the female police officer was over there telling her like she's got to pack up and move her stuff. And this lady, like the lady was barely coherent. Like she's just like, you tell she was totally out of it. And the situation was just like awkward to look at. It was sad. And like the officer, like to her credit, was being pretty patient. Like she was like trying to like, you could hear compassion in her voice. Like she wasn't being a dick. Like, you hear a lot of that, but like she seemed like she generally was trying to be nice, this lady.
Yeah.
But I was like, it bummed me out. So like, I just kind of looked down. Like I put my head down when I saw it. I was just bummed. And as I looked down next to the tree across, like, a few feet away from where she was at, face down, I saw a little white card. I was like, it looked like a business card or something. I was like, no fucking way. And I bent down. It was my IBJJF fucking black belt card.
Really?
Face down. It was all gross. I had to go wash it in the sink because like it was, on the sidewalk basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just I couldn't believe I found the damn thing. I was like, it's a needle in a haystack. I wasn't even looking anymore. I was seriously just going back to the event, and I was already on the IBJJF website renewing it because it expired. I found out, and they just sent me a new card in the mail. But yeah, because I was like, I randomly looked down, like I found the damn card. It was
Dude,
crazy.
This trip, yeah. I wonder how it got there.
You know what happened? I almost dropped it the second time. What I noticed is when I pulled a little iPhone thing out of my pocket, it's plastic, and I guess the static, like it's stuck to the screen, and it almost fell out of my pocket again.
Oh, okay.
So I just like put it back in my wallet. I'm like, no.
Yeah. This time you're staying put.
Yeah, you live here now, sir. All right, man. So it's been an hour and a half. It's late. I got to teach early in the morning. We're gonna take Stang, get him some food, fill him up with donuts and coffee. So he has to take a big old dump before his 10:30 class. One World. I'm proud of the guy. I've had him since white belt, known him a while, and he wanted the opportunity to start teaching some classes, so I would have him fill in for me now and then. It's cool. I appreciate it a lot because I mean he never misses a class. He's been a student for years. And so basically him, he gave me the flexibility to be able to go off and do some of these shows on the road, like with Boogeyman, Jean-Jacques Machado, Chris Cyborg, you name it. Those are days like where I was, usually would teach my classes. I've been teaching that morning class for 7 years now, right? 6-7 years.
Yeah.
And, having somebody that's like, really wants to teach, wants to, always improve his jiu-jitsu, but he also wants to improve his teaching as well. So, super, proud of the guy. Appreciate his help a lot, and stoked to see he's going to be out there earning some cash, teaching some classes and stuff. So, it ain't like he won the lottery, but he's doing something he really likes doing. So, I'm glad to have been any part of that.
Shout out to you, Sting.
Look at the Hindu Latine right there. He's going for it. See it?
10th Planet Freaks, baby.
Love those guys. All right, man. Nima, any shout outs, plugs, Ninja Realtor?
Yeah, you guys can find me at The Ninja Realtor on Instagram. On Twitter, I am SV Ninja Realtor, SV standing for Silicon Valley. Hit me up. Any questions you guys have about the real estate market, looking to buy or sell. Together with my father, we've sold over 1,200 homes. Very, very active on what I do. This is a 7-day-a-week thing for me. It's not just like I'm not playing real estate. It's literally my life. I can tell you that jiu-jitsu and real estate are about 90% of my day and all that goes on in my day. So yeah, you want to talk about MMA, jiu-jitsu, or even real estate, you know how to reach me. Always here.
And I'm Clint Cronin. This is the Clint Cronin Show. That's Nima Moridi. At Clint Cronin on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. I'm on Facebook. You want to say hi in there. Subscribe on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, whatever you want to. Anywhere that high quality on-demand digital audio can be found. Thank you for watching. Cronin Club for life.